So we're going to make sure that we can multiply these radical expressions using the distributive property. So you want to make sure that you distribute. So in other words, you draw your arrows into the parentheses, and when you multiply, you are only allowed to multiply the coefficients and the radicands. So for instance, we're going to take negative 4 times 3 and get negative 12. We're going to multiply 3v and 6v and get 18v squared, and that's under the radical. And then we're going to have, remember there's a negative 1 right here, so we're going to have negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 1, or positive 4 rather, times the square root of 30v. Okay. So from here we have to simplify our radicals to see if we can combine our like radicals. The 18v squared we're going to well, let's do that off to the side so you can see what it is. We're going to break that into 9 and 2, right? Circle the 2, make that 3 and 3. And since we have a pair of 3's, we can pull one out from under the radical and multiply it times the negative 12. So that becomes negative 36. The v squared, we can pull a v out using from that. And we have times the square root of 2, because there was a 2 left over here. And then we have plus 4 root 30v. And the 30v will not simplify, so we're going to leave it like that. Okay? So if we take a look at what we have here, we have a root 2 and we have a root 30v. They're not like radicals, so we cannot combine them, and therefore that is our answer for that particular problem. Oops. All right. Let's take a look at another one here. Let's go ahead and multiply the 2 root 2n times the quantity negative 2 root 10n minus 2 root 2. Alright, so when we multiply, we're going to multiply the coefficients. So that's negative 4. And multiply the radicands, which is 20n squared. And then we have minus 4 root 4n. Okay, the 20, if we simplify this, is going to be 4 and 5, 2 and 2. So we can pull out a 2. So we're going to have negative 8n, because n squared and n comes out, times the square root of 5, minus, the square root of 4 is 2, so this is going to become the square root of 8, or rather negative 8, times the square root of n. Okay, look at our two radicals. They're not like radicals, and so we have to leave it the way that it is. Okay, oops, let me clear that off there. Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. The next problem you're going to notice we're going to have to use the FOIL method, which is really still the distributive property. It's just we call it FOIL when you have 2 terms times 2 terms. It's the distributive property in disguise, so you don't have to get too caught up on that. So we're going to have 4 arrows this time. We're going to have these arrows coming from the negative 5 root 5. And then we are going to have arrows coming from 3 root 2 to the 2 terms as well. So really the big thing is that you remember to multiply the terms in the first set of parentheses by both of the terms in the second set, and you're good. So let's see what we end up with here. We're going to have, for our first arrow, positive 5 times the square root of 25x. And the second arrow is going to be negative 20 times the square root of 10x. And then our third arrow right here is going to be negative 3 times the square root of 10x. And our last arrow is going to be plus 12 times the square root of 4x. Alright, so let's simplify our radicals and see if we can combine any like radicals. Right here, square root of 25 is 5, so we can multiply that by the 5 that's already out there. So that's 25 root x. These two we can combine together into negative 23 root 10x. And then plus, the square root of 4 is 2, so we can multiply 12 times 2 and get 24 root x. Okay? And in doing that, I can see that I can still combine some more like radicals. The 25 and the 24 root x's will give us a total of 49 root x minus 23 root 10x. The square root of 10x can't simplify that, so we are done. Alright, let's do one more problem like this here. So again, we have 2 terms times 2 terms, so 4 multiplications. The first multiplication is -9 times the square root of 4b. The second is going to be plus 6 root 10. The third is going to be 9 times the square root of 10b squared. Make sure you square that b. And the last is going to be -6 root 25b. Okay, let's go through and simplify the radicals. 2 is going to come out, so we're going to have -18 root b. 6 root 10, that's just going to be 6 root 10, so plus 6 root 10. Plus, we can make this 9b root 10. And we can make this minus 30 times the square root of b. Okay. Now, we want to combine any like radicals that we have. So I see this -18 root b and the -30 root b. I can combine those, but the 6 root 10 and the 9b root 10, even though they both have root 10s, the 9 has a b with it as well. So those 2 terms actually can't be combined together. They're not like terms. So we're just going to say that we have -48 root b plus 6 root 10 and then plus 9b root 10. And that's going to be our final answer.